Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam once again with you today. And in today's session, we are going to give you a brief of what we do in a training workshop exclusively designed for sales professionals. As it often happens that most of the sales guys, feet on the street kind of guys who sell products directly to customers, be it in any industry, we are talking about wide range of industries, including your telecom industry, your software, hardware industry, including your automotive industry, machineries, host of other things where sales guys are involved in selling their products. Each of these products are different, as we all know that. And for each customer segment, the strategy of selling becomes completely different. And probably that's one of the reasons why in the Masters of Business Administration course, we have an exclusive subject on consumer behavior, which typically talks about how you segment customers, how do you understand the psyche of customers based on which you derive your own sales pitch, because ultimately the objective of any salesperson is to influence the customer and then sell a product. So by definition, it's nothing but exchange of goods and services for money. After this process, what happens? The good becomes the customers, and the customer's money becomes the salesperson's. Typically means it goes to the company, and this cycle of selling and buying continues, which keeps propelling the country's economy forward. That's from a much larger perspective. These things are taught in depth right from the conceptual level, conceptual frameworks, various researchers, etc., at the Masters of Business Administration level. But unfortunately, we cannot expect every sales guy, every sales officer, sales consultant to be an MBA degree, right? Of course, there are lots and lots of highly successful salespeople without an MBA degree. But what did they do differently? They understood the customer psychology. They applied some of these concepts in their, everyday work. As a result of which, those guys became extremely good sales professionals. Now, in this sales training workshop, what we're trying to do is we're going to introduce those concepts, but at a very superficial level. But what we're going to focus more on is how these concepts are going to be implemented in practice so that every sales conversation, every sales pitch results in a finished sale. That's going to be the objective of this workshop, right? Normally, these training programs are done over 4 days. Some companies, it's done on 2 days. Depending on the nature of the project, we customize the solution based on the customer's needs. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you a gist of what we do in such training programs. I will try to cover the whole training program just in 5 or 10 minutes, just to give you an idea of what is normally covered in those training programs, right? Just to introduce, my name is Dr. Sadashivam. I did my MPhil in the field of entrepreneurship, and I did my PhD in the area of management from Birla Institute of Technology, MESRA. Now, consumer behavior, in the domain of management, discipline of management, my specialization was on the aspect of consumer behavior. So this is one particular subject which is very close to my heart. But normally when I discuss with people, they say consumer behavior, frameworks, we're going to discuss a lot of frameworks. The sales guys generally feel that, sir, these are all theoretical. They cannot be applied in the field. I have only one answer for them. That answer is very, very clear. Because whatever we see in textbooks, they're all distilled practices, distilled experience of professional salespeople all over the world. It is based on practices. It is based on successful practices. Theoretical frameworks are created. So what we read in the form of a theory in a textbook is nothing but practical things implemented. Sometimes it may appear that one concept applied in one particular product need not necessarily apply for all products in the world. But all said and done, these theoretical foundations play a very, very important role. And knowledge of these concepts, knowledge of these frameworks help sales professionals to increase their conversion ratio, right? Improve their effectiveness. So we're not going to touch upon theoretical concepts and frameworks 100% of the time. We will be touching upon them 15-20% from an understanding point of view, but remaining 80%, we will focus on what is implementable on ground. What, if done properly, can enhance your sale volumes? What can increase your profit realizations in everything that, which are the KRAs for a sales professional? That is what we would be focusing on in our training programs. So this is just a capsule, a small capsule of what we do in a 2 days or a 4-day training program, right? So typically we introduce consumer behavior in terms of theoretical foundations, in terms of what customers buy, when they buy, how much they buy, and host of generic things. We will take up specific example from their industry. For example, if somebody is selling ball bearings, we will talk about who is your customer, who buys a ball bearing, where is the ball bearing used, what are the different kinds of your customers. Some customer may be an automotive customer, some may be making wet grinders, some may be, in some other industry, because ball bearing is used in every single, for example, like for somebody is selling a machine, for example, a lathe machine, these concepts, these theoretical concepts are applicable in all industries. That is what, but before we get on to those practical aspects, we need to understand the theoretical underpinnings, which have, brought in this whole subject of consumer behavior. Of course, then we will introduce, and there are so many models. We will be using case studies, for example, in a specific company for this product. They could not, sell so much of their goods were available on the godowns which are not getting sold. So what efforts did they do in terms of awareness, in terms of sales promotion, and what results did they achieve? All these are brought in the form of case studies. These case studies are decided based on the specific industry the salespeople are from, right? And then, of course, generic concepts of who is an internal customer, who is an external customer, stakeholder management, business to business marketing, what kind of strategies are applied, business to consumer marketing, what things are applied. Then some of the concepts of segmentation, how do you target customers, how do you position your products? These things are, theoretical underpinnings are generally discussed, and then product to product, we will be going deep in terms of how we can use these understanding learnings of concepts in order to improve their own sales. Okay, so then of course, introduction to consumer behavior starts from daily experience. We did one training program for the oil and gas industry, Hindustan Petroleum, and that is where I've mentioned this oil and gas industry. All right. So before we get into this customer decision process, there are 4 important views. One is from an economic perspective, view in terms of how much money is spent. There is a general concept that if you reduce the price, the demand increases. Of course, all that happens. We have something called as a demand elasticity, price elasticity. All these are taught in MBA schools. But for those guys who have not been very fortunate to study in a business MBA school, but who are graduate engineers, I've come across lots and lots of graduate engineers who've completed their engineering, but who are selling machines, sales engineers, senior sales engineers who are selling big capital equipment, bulldozers, etc. Little bit of theoretical, concepts will help them. We will talk about what is an economic view, what is a passive view, cognitive view, something to do with psychology, emotional view. Every customer is both rational as well as emotional. So how do these factors influence your sales strategies with the customers? Then we're going to talk about so many models of consumer behavior. Typically, when we talk about models of consumer behavior, most of what I'm talking to you, they've all been drawn from a very important book, which is Leon and Schiffman. This Leon and Schiffman, I must admit, is one of the books which I extensively refer, even when I was doing my PhD. Because for me, Leon and Schiffman, they are like God to me, because I've gone through their entire book and a lot of concepts which I've learned in that book. I've used it in my 405 pages dissertation, PhD dissertation. My gratitude to them, and I must acknowledge that most of their inputs have been used in my training programs also and most of that I would be covering in the sales presentation also. So typically, we're going to talk about input, process, output. It's not just in the perspective of consumer behavior. Input, process, output is there everywhere in this world. For example, even if you're making a sabji, there is an input which is going inside in the form of vegetables, and then there is a process where the lady of the home lights the stove, puts some oil. There is a process, there is a waiting time, preparations are done, and ultimately the output of that is that tasty food stuff that we get on our dining tables. So this input, process, output is a very, very important theoretical concept which can be applied across every walk of life, and we're going to see how this is going to be implemented in the field of sales. Now, typically when you talk about this input from a marketing perspective, talking from a sales perspective, marketing and sales are different, but here we are using that interchangeably because we're talking about a sales training workshops where we're giving some theoretical understanding of what marketing is. Like I said, theory is just 20%, remaining 80%, we will be focusing on the sales part of it, right? So typically when you talk about input from a sales point of view, it is the external environment, what you see around you, what you hear people talking about you, etc. And then the process happens. The consumer starts making his own decisions. For example, somebody talked about Maruti, somebody talked about Hyundai. There was a news in paper that some brand, I don't want to name the specific brand of that car. I don't want to do that. There was some event of some fire in the engine when the vehicle was parked, etc., etc. Because all these are affecting your decision-making process. Like in any decision, you didn't have this data, but when you went through the newspaper, this data came, and this input of data is going to affect your purchase decisions, right? So that's the second part of it, which involves consumer decision making. And of course, the third part, which is the output part. Here in this case, it is purchase of the vehicle, right? And after the purchase of the vehicle, you have post-purchase behavior in terms of how well you recommend this product to your friends, relatives, are you a brand ambassador, etc., etc., right? And a lot of companies, they focus on their existing customers. Customer retention is the name of the game. It's not just automobile industry. I will be giving a lot of examples about the automotive industry because I'm from an automotive guy. I started my career with Maruti Udyog when it used to be a public sector undertaking, and then of course I worked with various automotive companies. So I might give some examples of automotive, but I will ensure that I don't restrict my examples only to automotive. We will be taking up examples from various other companies like Walmart. We will be talking about. We will be talking about concept selling, where a concept, there's no physical product. There is a concept involved. Telecom industry, there is a concept. The aggregator industry, you don't sell a product, but you sell a car. Insurance industry, we will be taking up examples, all those industries, just to ensure that people understand these concepts. They not only understand this concept, but they use that in their actual sales negotiations so that they increase the sales and bring profits to the company. And that's exactly where the role of training companies and trainers like us come into picture. So typically from a consumer perspective, when you talk about the external environment and then the consumer decision process in terms of a process, and then purchase and post-purchase behavior. Now, typically it can be, the consumer decision process, it can be looked at it from a consumer perspective as well as a marketing perspective. So typically from a consumer's perspective, when you see, anything starts with the recognition of a need. That's the first thing. Like, for example, you go with two-wheeler, suddenly there is a heavy rain, you are with your wife and family, the rain, you go to the side of the road, you stand on the road for some time. That is when the wife tells you, why do we have to do all this with this two-wheeler? I saw an advertisement where you can buy a Maruti 800 car. We can exchange this two-wheeler for a Maruti car with an investment of say 4,000, 5,000 rupees EMI. We would be able to upgrade ourselves to the lowest variant of Maruti car. That is when the need arises. They're not going to buy a car immediately, but the need is felt in their minds. This will linger on for some time. Some neighbor buys that car, or you find somebody going in your car, your relative buying your car. buying a car, or probably some relative suggesting, oh, you're still in a two-wheeler, why did you buy? All these are part of need recognition. First, it's need recognition. Once the need is recognized, then it goes on to the next stage, which is search for information, what cars are available in the market, and then evaluation of alternatives. Which car is better? Which car provides you more features? Which car is good in price? Which car, car company gives you various finance schemes? Who is willing to exchange your product, etc. All these are evaluation of alternatives, and finally a purchase decision. Always when it involves a purchase decision, it is either this or this. You might consider 10, 15 different products in your consideration set. But finally, when it comes to purchase decision, it is either X or Y. I'm sure you can compare that with our own marriages, right? Initially, not talking about love marriage. I'm arranged marriages. You give an ad in the paper, need is recognized. The boy is now 25, 26 years old, or probably the girl is 20, 21 years old, fit enough to get married, and you give ads, get hundreds of people. And then you evaluate the alternatives in terms of where does he work, what is his designation, what is his salary, family background, character, and a host of other. Based on these factors, we do all this, and then finally purchase decision, we select. You might consider hundreds of people, but finally, even in a marriage, it's a question of either him or him, X or Y, or probably her or this, purchase decisions. Here in this case, decision about life, and then of course post-buying behavior after marriage. Right. So these concepts we're talking about so that's from a customer perspective. But from a marketing perspective, it's different. From a marketing perspective, it is IDA model. I'm sure some of you are aware of this IDA model. But awareness is what is important. Important is what have we learned from this model, and how are we going to use the understanding of that model when we actually sell our product. That's what is important. So from theoretical underpinning, from a marketing perspective, sorry, it's wrongly written as a consumer perspective. It is a marketing perspective. So we're going to talk about 4 important things, the IDA model, which is what is it the marketers do to grab the attention of the customer? And once the attention is grabbed, what is it the marketers need to do in order to ensure that it's kind of an interest is developed on that? And then this interest culminates to the desire. Interest is, yes, he was interested in looking at it. What is it? The desire is, it culminates to a situation where the guy wants to own it. That's the desire part of it. And then finally comes the action part of it. Once the desire comes, then what is it that needs to be done? Little amount of money needs to be arranged. Let me take some from my dad, some from my friends, some from the bank, use my savings, look at things, and then, put up all these and then buying the product. The salesperson needs to facilitate all that, right? So we will talk about these things in the perspective of various products, right? And then we will also be talking about various types of buying behavior, because we have millions of products in the world. Not all products are the same. Not one strategy which can be applied to a specific product cannot be applied to all the products in the world. And this is what we will be focusing in our training programs. So we will be talking about high involvement purchases, low involvement purchases, high involvement purchases. When you want to buy an apartment, high involvement, the whole family is involved. You talk about it, deliberated, debated, months together. Low involvement. You want to buy a Pepsi or a Coke, low involvement. You don't analyze so much. You go to the store, whatever is available, you pick it up. Whatever is available on the shelf, you pick it up, right? Then it's a question of significant differences between the brands. For Tata salt, there is some other salt. Atta means there is an Ashirwad atta, there are other attas, Nirma powder, surf powder, so many products are there. Are there significant differences in these brands? That is for you to figure out. We really don't know. Because different companies claim their products are the best. You have basmati rice, you have rice which is 150 rupees a kg, you have rice which is 200 rupee a kg. You have rice which is the 35 rupee a kg. Now, which rice is good? We really don't know. But the fact is, 200 kg rice also sells. Rice costing 150 per kg also sells. A rice costing 35 rupees also sells. That's the beauty of this Indian market. Every product sells. The question is, where is the product positioned? And what kind of a strategy is the company doing to market the product? And what is it the salesman is doing to take on those things and then translate that into a sales pitch? Because he is the one who is in direct touch with the consumer, right? So from that perspective, in this training session we have planned, we will be talking about high involvement purchases, low involvement purchases. We will also be talking about significant differences, no differences. These two things are put on a matrix: high involvement, low involvement, significant differences, no significant differences. And then we will carry out a matrix. 4 different things will come. For example, complex buying behavior, variety seeking behavior, dissonance reducing behavior, habitual buying behavior. Now, in this matrix, we will be providing various examples of case studies of products, and the participants will find out which product belongs to which of these categories. That is being done so that in future, when they set out to sell their own product, they will be using the right strategy when they interact with their customers. That's going to be the final objective, right? So in this particular case, if you see this high involvement and high involvement and significant difference will be complex buying behavior. And then, of course, high involvement and no significant difference, that's something called as variety seeking behavior. And significant differences, no significant. So once we put up that in the form of a matrix, which we normally do in all the training programs, all these concepts become very, very clear. Now, there are certain important factors that affect consumer behavior. One is your social, your personal, your psychological, all these things affect economical, all these affect the consumer's behavior. Typically social, we all live in a society. Many a times we don't buy products just for ourselves, but we buy products for the sake of the society we are in. The guy has a beautiful car in a good working condition, but when he sees his neighbor going for a higher brand of car, a sedan car, for example, immediately people around the neighborhood also want to upgrade their cars. So we all live in a society, right? Social esteem, if you look at Maslow's need hierarchy, these things are extremely important. And, personally, every guy has his own personal characteristics. Typically, when we talk about personal, we are talking about the demography, their age, income, education, qualification, host of other things. And apart from that, there is another important factor which affects consumer behavior, which is about psychology, psychographics in terms of what is motivations are, because different things motivate different kind of people. People trade off different things for different things based on their psychological makeup. We will be talking about this, but not that we will do things at a PhD level, though I did my PhD in the subject. My intention is not to make them scholars or making them PhD researchers like me. My job is to build a kind of a bridge between these academic concepts and what can be practically done on the field. Because I keep on harping this subject again and again, but everything we study in the textbooks is some kind of a practical thing that was applied and was successful. Only those things get into the textbooks in the first place. So in my opinion, nothing in this world can be more practical than a textbook. So, but yes, some of these concepts that apply to one product need not necessarily apply to all the products in the world, because each product is unique, right? And that is where we need to use these models in terms of where do you place this product and what kind of a strategy can best be adopted to this. It's like playing a game of cricket. Different bowlers, when they play, the batting style needs to be different, right? So different strokes for different folks is the name of the game, and we will be reinforcing all these concepts through live examples from the industry. This is one very extremely beautiful theoretical model, which is Howard-Seth model, because these guys have spent their whole lifetime analyzing what these products are, research, and their 40 years of research has come in a small model of one-page model. Can't we spend 10 minutes to go through what that model is? Beautiful model. It talks about same input, process, and outputs. Input, it talks about significance, various symbolic elements, service, etc., etc. And the process side, a lot of constructs. Because when you talk about constructs, they're very academic, perceptual constructs, learning constructs, etc., etc. Then, of course, the output, obviously, as anyone would want, would be in the form of a purchase intention, a brand comprehension, attention, etc. Now, typically, we talked about this exercise. We did an actual exercise in one of the training programs we did. We talked about various factors and we evaluated on the basis of certain things amongst some of these automotive companies, Maruti, Swift, Hyundai, Santro, Volkswagen, Palo, Tata, Indica. This was done a long back. So based on this, we rated every candidate rated, and then we looked at it, assessed that. Then whatever product you sell, then we will be linking some of these concepts with your own product. You may be selling a bulldozer, for example. You may be selling paint. You may be selling a pen. You may be selling electronic televisions. You may be selling vacuum cleaners. The question is not that. We have used this car example because everyone can relate themselves to this car example because everybody owns a car. I'm sure most of the people would have gone through this experience of buying a car. So understand that experience, link that to some theory, Howard Seth theory or Leon Schiffman theory, and look at how they can be used. And when these guys go out in the market to sell, they can use those, they can understand those concepts better, apply them better. That's the whole objective of our sales training workshops. And other than that, we will be taking up case studies from various companies, Motilal Oswal, Vedanta, Vagri Bagri, T and Heritage, Nirma, some case studies, but we will design these case studies based on the product, we are handling whatever product. For example, if we do a training program for inverter company, we might probably give some examples related to that. Probably we have a mandate of training people on selling insurance, then we have other case studies to cover, right? Then from a salesperson, a point of view, from a referral point of view, your customers can play different roles. Somebody is an initiator, somebody is an influencer, somebody is a decider, somebody is a buyer, somebody is the user. These are some of the roles. Any successful salesperson needs to have a clear-cut idea of what each of these roles are. And not only that, he has to use that in practice, right? Then segmentation is a very important theoretical concept. What is segmentation? Today, even we have number of segmentation. At one point of time, we only had one Horlicks. Everybody can use that. But today we have segmentation. This Horlicks is for gents. This is for ladies. This is for ladies who are on the family way. This is for old ladies. This is for young ladies. Once upon a time, I was, speaking to my grandma. Even those days, we had this concept of moisturizers. The moisturizers used to be called as snow. There was only one snow, which all ladies, men use. But now, different segmentation. For dry skin, there's something different. For the wet skin, it is different. I don't know, number of varieties, right? So many varieties have come into the picture. That's where segmentation plays a very, very important role. And in this age of consumerism, everything has gained a lot of relevance in this age of consumerism. And that's where, greater demand and consumption, people's aspirations are going up, industries are coming up, each of which is leading to a free market economy. The whole GDP, the whole country grows in the process. Look at what happens to US. This is the reason. Segmentation, targeting, marketing, driving the consumption demand. And if you look at each of those developed countries, they have traversed the same path, in their being in the market. So once the training session is over, we do some kind of a post-assessment in terms of understanding how well the participants have understood these concepts, and we conclude the training program. So I've tried my level best to encapsulate a 4-day training program into a small 10-15 minutes capsule, and this is what we do in our training programs. So if you like this, we have lots and lots of such sales training material. We have our own YouTube series, and if If you have to train your guys, put them through these, make them subscribe to this video, go through those sales training videos, which will give you a fair idea of some of the important concepts in selling, right? Apart from that, if you would like us to conduct a complete training session for 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, we have panel of trainers throughout the country. We develop our material. I am personally involved in developing the content in terms of what case study to use, what models to be used, how should the pedagogy, whole instructional designing should be, in order to ensure that your participants, your employees, your salespeople derive the maximum from these training workshops, and they can put that into practice. We take accountability. You get your guys trained. We will ensure that they show the required output in terms of delta increase in your turnover, delta increase in your profits, etc. We take up that commitment depending on the level of engagement with your company. We have panel of trainers throughout the country, and I will personally be involved in understanding your requirement and putting the right trainer for the right kind of training program, right? And if it's very important, some programs I will also be open to do those training program if it is really a senior level kind of a training program. So this is how we are planning to take the whole training program. And I've given some of my details. Do subscribe to this YouTube channel, and for your training programs, do contact me. This is Dr. Sadashivam signing off till we meet again in our next series of training programs. Till then, bye-bye. Jai Hind.